Good morning and welcome back. How are you guys feeling after having your warm cup of joy? If you finished your day 4 challenge, well, kudos to you and welcome to day 5 of the Mindful Momentum Challenge. Today, we're going to be talking about how small wins create powerful momentum. And I know that after doing all of those things to get your energy going, you're ready to start putting some of that momentum into action. Now, one of the things that's really crucial to understand is that everything that you've been doing so far is having an impact on the day that you have ahead. It's called habit stacking. And habit stacking is a great principle for building momentum. I want you to understand that your existing habits, as they are right now, even without the things that we have been talking about since we started this challenge, are a really great base to use as building blocks for moving forward. New habits are easy to add to your existing habits. And that is how you get to create an ultimately stronger structure that will build lasting momentum. Now, there are 3 types of morning wins that you should be able to experience to build momentum as you go through the day. You have your physical win that comes from maybe making your bed or doing the morning stretches. Then there's that mental win that you'll get from spending time in silence or meditation or from doing some reading or journaling. And then the strategic win. Now, this is the part where you're doing the planning and the prioritizing and the action planning. And guys, to be honest, this is actually why I even started something like the Mindful Momentum Challenge, because I'm somebody that loves to put the doing before the being. What I mean by that? Oftentimes, we get caught up in just getting things done. We want to make sure that we're moving forward, and our lives are so busy and so attacked by all of the different things that are fighting for our attention. And so I had to be intentional about stepping away from this go, go, go life and moving more into focusing on my inner work and my mindset and my physical being. Because ultimately, if all you're doing is focusing on everything that you have to get done, then you're literally going to run yourself into the ground, sickness towards death. Trust me, I know, I've seen it myself. All right. So as you're thinking about your morning success list and the different things that you have to get done during the course of the day, you want to make sure that you are stacking all the different things that you are doing towards that momentum. So the physical win, you make sure that you get that in there, and your mental win, you make sure that you get that in there, and you would have already stacked on a couple of practices that will ultimately build up the energy that you'll need when you sit down to do your success list for the day. What do I mean by a success list? I love list building. It is one of the things that helps me to feel like I'm connecting to my work. I have clarity about what I need to be focusing on. And then I get to celebrate when I mark something off of my list. I usually start off with a top 3 for me. I usually have a long list of things to do, like most persons. So you may have 10, 15, 20 things that you want to get done in any given day. It's not helpful to your mind to actually just have that list running in the back of your head or have a list of 20 things that aren't prioritized or organized to help you with how you're building that momentum. So I like to, after doing my big dump of things I have to do, I like to come up with the top 3 for me. What are the 3 things that are going to make me feel so good if I get them out of the way? No, it doesn't mean that the things are all easy. Don't get it twisted in all. Just because it's going to make you feel good when you're finished does not mean it's going to be easy. No, I list the things that sometimes are like eating a frog, but I know that once I eat the frog one time, it's over and it's done, and I can get all of my things celebrated. Yes, those things make the list too. I usually put at least one personal item and then maybe 1 or 2 work-related items. If I have multiple projects and there are multiple things to do on all these projects, I try to prioritize what is the burning building right now that needs my attention and is also time sensitive. And then I will pick an urgent item from my personal life to add to the list. So here is an example right now of my top 3 for me that I have. And of course, you're going to see categorized on there the Mindful Momentum Challenge, because I want to make sure that I'm focusing on doing that work. Once I get my top three for me down, I also try to put time blocks in the spaces. So I know that this video editing is going to take probably the most time. So I'm going to tackle that first. Why? Because it requires me to be high energy and already in a feel-good space. So it makes sense for me to just tackle it right away so I can move on to the other things that may feel better to complete. So I edit my videos first. I know it's going to take me about an hour or two. So I put down that, say, 90-minute window, and I put that beside it. So I'll have 90 minutes. I'll make that note. And then I'll do the same thing for the other two items. Now, another tip that I want to offer you guys is to use this tool called Brain FM. Or maybe you can use on your Apple phone. I use my Apple phone. And in Apple Music, they actually have focus music. That brain music is a game changer. Not only does it keep you on task, but it helps you to shut out all of the mental distractions that will sometimes get in the way of your focus. So I put on my music and I set up the interval with my music, which is why I use Brain FM, because you can set up time intervals. I set up intervals with my music to actually do about 25 to 35 minutes of work and then to take at least a 10-minute break. And I do that repeatedly until I have completed the item that I have on my list. And once it is done, guess what I do, guys? I cross it off. Oh my gosh, there is nothing like that feeling that you get when you cross something off of that list. Sometimes I even get up and do a little happy dance, because I finished something and it feels good to finish, right? So I want you guys to try today as a part of your challenge to actually go through and do that top three for me. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, Stacey, I have so many things to do, then the first part of things is going in and making that dump, doing that big list. You have to put it down on paper instead of keeping it in your head. I like to say you got to face it to fix it. And it works. So you want to get that challenge going by sitting down, maybe doing that dump first of that 10 to 20 things. And then after you do the 10 to 20 things list, pick off 3 things and make sure in that 3, you have one personal thing. It always is good to break up the work items versus the personal items. Don't just get focused solely on work. There is actual science behind this. You guys notice I've been dropping the science tips here and there because when you do habit stacking, it helps you to build momentum in your brain as well. After you do something that you're accustomed to doing, like turning off your alarm, I'll make my bed. Maybe you never used to make your bed before, but because you used to turn off your alarm all the time, adding the making the bed piece to it gets a little bit easier. You will feel so much more rewarded when you have done the one thing that is normal and then the new thing that you have added. Then the next stack, after I make my bed, I will drink water. Same process. Existing thing, now I'm adding a new thing. And then you do the same thing again. After I drink water, I will do 3 stretches. And you don't have to do all of these things on the same day. This is something that you could do daily if you're putting in new habits, or weekly if you're putting in new habits. You guys should read Atomic Habits by James Clear. That book is also a really, really good resource to help you with understanding how to build positive momentum using stacking methods like habit stacking. Of course, guys, we're doing all of this stuff in the morning because morning wins matter the most. The reason morning wins are so crucial goes beyond just starting your day right. There is decision fatigue, which we have discussed before, that when you set up yourself for success, like knowing that you're going to be doing your top 3 list, you don't have to now decide or think about how am I going to tackle all the things I have to do today. You've already taken care of it because you've made a decision to start doing your top 3 for me list every day. Also, each win triggers a cascade of positive effects. We talked about that celebratory feeling that you get on the inside. That's because the brain releases dopamine to boost motivation whenever you actually finish something. That is your feel-good hormone. Your feel-good hormone is the dopamine. And success naturally breeds success. When you get good at doing something and you get that win, you want to do more of it. I do want you guys to pay attention though. Pay attention to when you are doing too many things, because you might get a little bit addicted to the doing, like I was in my previous life. You might get addicted to the doing and not spend enough time focusing on your being. One of the things that I also want you guys to make sure that you're paying attention to as you move now into that momentum phase, I want to make sure that you are paying attention to your rest time. When you are setting up your top 3 for me, don't get so hooked on the completing of the top 3 that you neglect taking a break and resting yourself. I hope these tips have been wonderful for you today, guys. Make sure that you remember your challenge, which is to go ahead and write down your top 3 for me, even if you have to do that big dump of top 10 or 20 things that are in the back of your mind somewhere. Once you do that, then get going with your momentum building for today. Also, guys, remember that if you haven't actually joined the challenge, you want to make sure that you click on the link in the description to join the Mindful Momentum Challenge so that you're getting my emails and the links to some of the additional resources that I have created for you. So take care, guys, until next time, and make sure you check back in to watch the next video.